All right, welcome to the webinar. My name is Jonathan Hawley. I'm with Educational Message Services and Prevention Pays Text, and we're going to go over the user interface. We're going to start with some slides and have a look at short code texting, what it all means. Prevention Pays short codes are strictly adhered to CTIA and FCC communication guidelines. If you have an interest in how the system is set up and how the short codes are set up, you can visit the website preventionpaidstext.com, and there's quite a bit of information about services. Tier 1 short code just means that it is connected and provisioned on all the carriers in the United States. So there are no gray areas. There's no non-supported mobile numbers. And as you all know, the demographics of texting has expanded quite a bit in the recent months and recent year or so. So now you've got in the INR and 211 and WIC and health department worlds, you've got older Americans now texting regularly, and also older individuals texting the agencies that are supporting text messaging. So we're going to have a look at some of those statistics. All right, the messaging capacity that we're going to discuss today includes the following. We support live one-on-one two-way texting. So INR support a simple way, a web-based service, to log in and respond to traffic, respond to requests for support. In those live conversations, if you're familiar with Facebook chat or you're familiar with another chat application, you'll see in the user interface that there's similarities there. There's similarities also to email in that we use an inbox where all of the incoming texts will go. And then we prioritize that inbox. And one thing that you want to know about with the live one-on-one texting piece and support is that you can have simultaneous concurrent conversations, which is a very unique distinction about the software. In this time, we're recognizing that being able to have a couple conversations at the same time really helps streamline workflows. We also support reminders and auto responses to keywords. What does that mean? Sending out group messages to people who opt in and then stringing them together potentially. And you'll see down below there's a reminder series that's taking alerts or reminders, single messages, one step further and saying that we can string them together. Surveys. So we can also support any type of survey that you have. There's new research out of University of Minnesota, University of Michigan that supports that surveys done by text have higher completion rates. And if you have any questions about surveys, survey capacity, just email us, support@preventionpaidstext.com, and we can give you any information you need, or info@preventionpaidstext.com. For reminders, and one more footnote on the surveys, you can have surveys trigger automatically, or you can have surveys as part of the opt-in, or during the encounter you can survey in a live way, or you can have it after the encounter happens, where a survey triggers because you completed a conversation with the end user, and then you're gonna give them a survey that assesses whether or not the help was helpful. So using the same channel and keeping them connected through SMS, and then having automated surveys that are triggerable like that make it really easy to customize and tailor each encounter the way you want it to be completed. A reminder series. Off of the reminders up top, same capacity. What we're saying is you can build series of texts that go out according to when somebody opts in or according to when a staff member assigns that series to that client. So think about education and converting educational content to text, sending out a weekly message, reminding them about whatever you want to remind them about, right? Maybe you have a reminder service where you're providing assistance or routing people to classes that they have to take. Or maybe you have educational content. We work with a lot of WICs, and it's breastfeeding awareness, and you want to support the conversational texting with an educational message every week. So it doesn't have to, those two don't have to operate separately. They can operate in a combined way, and we refer to that as kind of like hybrid texting. Being able to have conversations with your clients in a one-on-one way, but then also be able to send them content in a group way. And no, when they respond, everybody in the group message doesn't get their message. So don't worry about that. Just you. You're on a web-based service, and you're sending out text through the web-based service. They're on their mobile phones, and you can send as much group content as you want. You can also have conversations with anyone who's getting the group messaging. This group messages, we actually have a separate category for it. The reason why is that it's a separate tab in the user interface. It enables you, much like if you've ever had experience with email message or sending out group emails where you are taking your email listserv and sending out certain emails to certain people, the group texting tab enables you to do that same thing. Slice up your subscribers in whatever way you need them. Put them into buckets to then be texted. So freeing you from the idea that everybody's going to get messages because of the keyword that they texted. That's fine. But we've learned over time that groups evolve. And if you don't evolve the messaging and tailor it and retrofit it to their needs as they evolve, they're going to drop away. They're going to opt out. So rather, subgroup them and send them content that's going to be more tailored to them. So you've got a big group, and then under the big group, you've got subgroups. And subgroups are all getting tailored content because you've learned something new about them. Appointment reminders. So appointment reminders are super simple to use. It's just an Excel spreadsheet. So if you can export your appointment reminders into an Excel, which most appointment reminder tracking software allows you to do, and then you just upload those appointment reminders into the software. We point out that one unique characteristic about the appointment reminders that are being used in our software is that conversational texting is always available. So you can send out appointment reminders and get confirmation. Do you plan to come to your appointment reminder? Reply yes, or I'm sorry, your appointment. And then when they reply yes, you can put somebody on the queue to respond to them. Or if they need to cancel, they can cancel. And then you can have a text conversation keying off of that cancel request. So that, again, you're sticking with the channel and you're giving them that option. And you know, that option to change their mind or cancel takes appointment reminders by text to a whole new level. Because we all know that appointment reminders by text are great and they increase compliance with that appointment. But there's also a certain segment of people who get text message appointment reminders who blow them off because somebody says, I must call this number instead of text back. So if you're able to text back to the appointment reminder by text, that's going to increase the compliance because rather than blowing off the appointment, they're actually going to text back and have a short little conversation. And then you can set up automated bot chat survey to reschedule so that the reschedule you don't even have to put a person on it. Really neat. If you have any questions about that capacity, the way to reschedule in an automated way, all those things, just send info at preventionpaystext.com and we are happy to provide you with more details about that capacity. All right, today we're going to talk about text your zip code to 898211 in one particular instance. 898211 is now used by dozens and dozens of 211s across the United States. A wonderful presentation earlier in the week that we were part of that talked about using text in the 211 sector to respond to people in the recent disasters, which was really an interesting thing. 211s have one foot in that space from time to time. And so being able to send messages to people in the impacted zone when all power was down, all phone lines were down, people couldn't make phone calls. So instead of doing that, they texted in. And being able to text in moments like that proved to be very effective. This particular case study is about United Way 211 in Atlanta. They're the first 211 in the country. And they started using text in 2015. And they have consistently seen increases in use rates. They started their live text queue in under 48 hours. So this is a big shop, right? This is a big shop that's handling thousands of encounters a day, right? Or a week. And so that being able to start with a whole bank of specialists, responders, right, in 48 hours was a real credit to not only their team, but also, and the specialists, but also the software was deemed very easy to learn and use. So they soft launched in 2015 in March with no outreach. They just did a Facebook post and they got 200 unique requests for help. So it indicated to them that this was going to be a channel that people were going to use. And then they're able to control use rates simply by who they tell about it to, right? So the information that they provide. And then starting in April, they added it to their homepage and their on hold message. And that's when things really shifted. When they started to tell people that they can call 211 or you can text your zip code to 898-211, and they started to put it in those places, that's when the traffic started to really climb. And then, as you see, over the past 24 months, they're handling upwards of 1,000 and 2,500 unique encounters per month. And then the 6,000 is increasing. That's phone to text referrals. So that's separate from the conversational texting that they're doing. That's sending callers referrals through the system. So they're at the end of a call also using Prevention Pays to send texts out to those callers who say, yeah, just text me that information rather than dictating it back to me over the phone. The buzz. So INR specialists prefer text over all other channels. Their INR specialists love being on text. All specialists are very comfortable using the platform. The quote from one of them, compared to chat and other services, using the system is a lot easier. End user client. So what are they saying? Thank you for all your help. I think this is a great thing. Love this option. This is much better than being on hold, right? Because they put it on their on hold message. So instead of being on hold, they're texting in. Problem solved. Very prompt and great service, would highly recommend. So texting is extremely popular. It's popular, and this is all from their executive director as well as their resource management, Marioli Botero. I'm going to give you their contact information. You want to follow up with any of this information. But they have said while calling and chatting and emails are all declining, text use rates just keep going up. So text, we know now that it's an expanding user base. We highly recommend this platform for all INR-related services and populations. If you have any questions about any of that, you can contact Mariela Botero for email, phone number, or Donna Burnham, email, phone number. Okay, so texting trends. This is from Pew Internet Research, one of the premier sources for data used in the United States. And these are texting trends. So 83% of American adults own cell phones. Okay? And 3/4 of them, 73%, send and receive text messages on a daily basis.
Okay, can I ask you something?
Americans under 55 text more than they talk on the phone and email combined. over 70% of Americans would prefer to text over phone for live help. So given the option, they would prefer to text. That's amazing. That's an amazing statistic, right? If given the option, they would prefer to text. So your population is there and they're wanting to text you. Over 98% of texts are opened in the first 5 minutes. Over 98%. By contrast, if you tweet, 80% of the tweets that people get in their feed are ignored, according to Pew Research. So when you look over your tweets, you're ignoring about 80% of them. Interesting. But text, it has 98% read rates. So people open their text. They prioritize their text. It's important to them. And as long as that stays that way, then your impact is measurable. Because every text you send, 98% chance that it was read. 80% of all web browsing in the United States is happening on smartphones. Fascinating statistic. 80%. So that means that people are going home and instead of surfing the web on their computer, their desktop, or their laptop, they're surfing the web on their mobile phone. And so that's why you've got data plans the way they are, right? Where all of the profit center is around how much data you use. And then contact centers pay on average 80 cents per text encounter. A call can cost as much as $20. So there's potential cost savings in using text as an alternative way for people to connect with you. Individuals prefer text when dealing with sensitive subjects. Fascinating, right? Dealing with sensitive subjects. So if I'm going to have to talk about my finances, I'm going to have to talk about my health, I'm going to have to talk about the health of my family, I'm going to have to talk about my taxes, I'm going to have to talk about whatever the thing is, right? We all kind of cringe a little bit when we hear those things. And so if we are able to text about it, that sometimes alleviates some of that stress and some of that anxiety about having to discuss these sensitive subjects. And that's research. That's now been researched and evaluated. If you contact info at Prevention Pays Text and just request research, we'll send you all of the research that we've found and uncovered over the years on that exact subject. So what is a call to action? A call to action is simply just what people can text to opt in. And so we use Tier 1 short codes and we use keywords. And so in this example, it's texting a keyword to a short code to opt in. And then that call to action can be published anywhere. You can put that on your website. You can put that on display and materials. You can put that in on take-home cards, brochures, whatever you need to do. Right? We've seen tremendous success with reaching younger populations just by simply being present in the places where they are. So partnership with schools and working with schools and putting posters up or take-home cards. If you work with the segment of the population that's has a common medical home where a lot of people are going, right, for their health services, partner with them. Have them have some materials on display so that you're partnering with your local agencies and cross-pollinating. People can learn about your services simply by picking up a brochure or seeing a poster while they're getting social services from another agency. You can also have click-to-text as being something that would be on, say, a website. And since 80% of people are browsing the internet on their smartphones, well, click-to-text becomes something that's very doable, right? Because if you just can click and then auto-pop that short code into the text message, then you're saving them that time of having to put in those 5 or 6 digit numbers. Gen Y women text more than any other group. This is why some WIC agencies now that we work with are disconnecting their phone service in lieu of text messaging, because they have something, I mean, some of these WIC agencies, 98, 99% want to be contacted exclusively via SMS, text messaging. And so when you have that kind of demand, you can look at the channel as being the primary. So Gen Y women who are the primary recipient of WIC benefits are receiving information not just about some of the early projects that we were working on, where there was breastfeeding awareness, breastfeeding education. That particular project was awarded by the USDA and has been presented at national conferences, the National WIC Association, as well as APHA. That project and that work has been presented internationally. Wonderful work. It's been written up in a national journal for lactation consultants. Tremendous. But now what they're doing is they're going, okay, well, if it works for this group and we're increasing compliance with breastfeeding and retention with breastfeeding, well, then it's going to work for all of our WIC clients, our entire caseload. And so you've got WICs now expanding their use of how they're using texting. Americans under 55 text when they talk on the phone. We talked about that. Interesting. The over 55 segment is one of the fastest growing. So again, this expanding user base. The next gen help seeker is already here, right? They're walking among us and they're wanting to be able to text. What is message tracking? This is important. Message tracking is inside the app. So it's in the application. So inside the website that you log into, you see the results of all of the outgoing messages getting delivery receipts. The message tracking that we use is carrier grade. So it's receipts from the carriers themselves. This is important. When you see all of the messages that you're sending are all going to get these receipts. And these receipts help you ensure that everybody gets the text that you're sending. And if for some reason it is unable to be sent to a mobile phone, the receipt will come back and say unable to deliver. And it's the carrier that's telling us that, right? So if it's AT&T, it's saying, I can't deliver this message to this client, this mobile number. And then we provide you with the reason for why that can't be delivered. We also support auto retry, so that as long as it can be retried and we get that message from the carrier, then we'll auto retry every 5 minutes until it gets delivered. Very important. You might come across services that say, yeah, we'll tell you when it's delivered. But all they're doing, unless it's carrier grade, unless it's supported by the carriers, all they're doing is just in the application saying it was delivered. And you have to take it on faith that was done. So very important piece. You want to be able to confirm that those messages are delivered. And with the carrier grade message delivery receipts, you're able to do that. So when somebody rings you up and says, I tried to text you and I wasn't able to get through, you have recourse. You can search for their phone number, pull it up and go, actually, it looks like we delivered a message. Your carrier reported that it was delivered at this time. Oh, and then it's about the number maybe being incorrect, their mobile number, but it's not about the service failing. All right, so if you want to participate in the demo, that's great. If not, don't follow these steps. All I'm going to do is I'm going to send the text message 00022. So I'm going to simulate an opt-in to, say, a 211, where we're texting a zip code to 898211. In this instance, we're going to use a fake zip code, 00022. But all I'm doing is I'm pulling open my text messaging application, and in my text messaging application, I select 898211 if I've had prior communication. 60% return rates, by the way, with text messaging. So people, once they test it out and use it, they generally tend to come back and text again and want to get additional information. So I'm pulling open my text messaging and I'm selecting 898211 because I've had prior communication with that short code, And then I'm just going 00022. And then I'm going to send that message. And then what we're going to see here is on this next slide, we'll see what that looks like on your phone. So it should look something like this, where you've got the short code up top, and then you've got the text message here, right? And the opt-in message and surveys, everything that's said when that person texts that keyword is all customizable by your agency, right? So you determine what is said next. So once they text that keyword, it's whatever you want to tell them. Do you want to survey them? So we refer to it as the opt-in. So when they text the keyword to the short code, they're opting in. They're wanting to be texted. So we push that to you. It's in your queue, and this is what it looks like in the queue. I'm going to jump out of this for a minute. I'm going to jump into this, and then this is what it looks like. Okay, and so and I can zoom in a little bit here. Now over here is the queue, and the queue shows you all of the incoming messages. You've got a search feature here. When you click on one of the phone numbers, you see what transpires with that particular phone number. So you see the zip code that was texted or the keyword that was texted, and then what is being provided to that end user, right? What messages are we sending as part of the opt-in? And then we open up that case, and now we've got the text box, and then we've got one moment while I check our database for all these canned messages. Wonderful. Canned messages can be customized by you. So you determine what's in these libraries. And if you have particular issues that people are texting about, well, then you can have issue-specific libraries. If you have housing needs, utility service needs, if this is a WIC agency, then maybe it's an entire group of canned messages that are about breastfeeding. And then there's an entire group of messages about nutrition, family nutrition, right? And then there's an entire group of messages about rescheduling appointments. You build the canned libraries to be consistent or synergistic with the conversational texting, so that when we select a new message, right, and I'm going to text back, I'm going to reply back, I'm looking for, to help us get started, please text your age, right, and then we'll say, food. So now I've got a request back from the client, right? And then the opt-in message, and then now I can go and I can say, okay, food service, right? Are you looking for a food bank, grocery assistance, a soup kitchen, or Meals on Wheels? So now I'm having a conversation with the client, and we're engaged in progress with that client. And then I can open up another case, right? I can open up another case, and I can say, when they text back, I can send them a response, or if they don't text back to the initial response, I can just trigger another, hey, how may I help you? Now, of course, hi, how may I help you can be hand typed, right? So you're always able to do that. It's just the canned libraries make it so much easier to have conversations with the client. Okay. So then I'm in progress with 2 cases, and I can go mine. And so then I'm looking at all cases that I either case manage, italicized, or that I'm responder to, normal. Okay. And then I'm in progress with those 2 cases. Super simple stuff. And then as I learn more about the client, I can data mark them or add notes, right? So if I'm working with this client, I can add a note, right? And I can move this around. right? So that if I'm working on concurrent cases, the background conversation lights up when it's ready. And then the foreground, my primary, is the one I'm working on now and having a conversation with. But I can toggle to that one. Super simple. Very easy to toggle back and forth between cases. And then my attributes, if I want to, for instance, add a note, food services, and this is just an example, I add that note, and then now that note is in the system, who created it, the time it was put into the system. So we're keeping track of information that's tied to each case in a way that's going to help us potentially reach them at a later time. So not just putting data in for the sake of putting data in, but being able to comprehensively show what happens with each client is important. But then also being able to help clients in the future may also be helpful. So what we do is, with this groups tab that we talked a little bit about, we can group people in whatever ways we need to. So popping open a new group, and then we can sort by, like, say, for instance, a note and food. And then everybody where I put a note in about food is going to show up in my results. Super cool. Building lists of people who we need to reach out to in a group way is wonderful. Creative uses of this, uploading all people who called us last year about taxes, text them this year about taxes available again, free tax assistance available again, or everybody that is in this subcategory of high-risk pregnancies, group them, send them content separate from everybody else. So wonderful, wonderful capacity here. And then when you name your group, right, food assistance encounters, and then you can pop a client into it, and then you can save that group. It's a group of one. And then now I've got a group of one clients that I can send information to. But you could put as many people as you need to put into that group. Food assistance encounters right there. And then when I send the text out to the food assistance encounters, I just go find my group, and then I type my message. Hey, you requested food support. Make sure to check out this additional resource. Snap. And maybe you give them a URL that they can text, right? So then I just put that URL in there. You can shorten your URLs if you do that kind of stuff, and then track the click rates. Food assistance encounters, and then you just pick the future date and time that it needs to go out. It could, if you don't put any future date and time, it goes out immediately. So I'll just put in here and a little bit later from now. And then, whoops, I'm going to put in a couple minutes from now. And then I just, when I'm happy with the date and time that I'm sending this content to, I just click send. And then what's going to happen is I'll get an update up here, group message created successfully. And then in the process, there it is, right at the top. So you get to see all your group messages, who created them and who they're going to, and the content of that message, and then cancel if need to. I can cancel that message as long as it's before it's supposed to go out. I want to show you something else. When you are working with a client and you have pending content, whether it's a pending survey or a pending message, it's going to be under unsent. Terrific. So that it's slightly grayed out. And then when you scroll over, it's send in process and the target time. Wonderful. I can also cancel this by client. So if I send out a group message to a whole bunch of people and I say, oh no, I didn't mean to send it to the 831 number. So find the 831 number and cancel it by that person rather than by the group. Groups tab, fun stuff. It's the new frontier of texting. It really is. It being able to create customized groups is fantastic. And there it goes. So it went from my unsent to my sent and delivered. So when we scroll over, you see there how it says acknowledged and then delivered? Every outgoing message gets that. Acknowledgement from the carrier and then delivery from the carrier. Kind of like the Postal Service, but a little bit more efficient. So having delivery receipts is really, really important piece. Having groups tab, being able to group, tailor, retrofit services to their specific needs. If you're looking at this service for conversational texting, there just simply isn't going to be a more efficient way to manage clients with conversational texting. Now, let's pop back to the, and if you're looking at this service for group texting, you're just not going to find a more robust set of tools. Yes, you can send group messages to entire segments or entire everybody who's ever texted you, right? So that you can become an alert type service in a second. I'm popping over to reminders, I type my message, and it goes out to everybody. Boom, I'm alerting everybody. You can have different queues for different needs. This is my queue where I send out text to all of the people that work at our agency. This is my queue where I send out text to the public. This is my queue where we manage donation information. And we have people texting to make donations and going to our private secure PayPal Paygate rather than carving off $5 from their phone bill, which a lot of people don't like. Because when they realize that that's what's happening, they get upset and then they want to rescind it. So being able to just text a link to your PayPal ensures that they're donating in a way that's convenient and a way that's very forthright. They know exactly what's happening. They're making that payment, and it's through channels that they're familiar with. Wonderful, wonderful capacity. So however you're looking to implement texting, and maybe you're looking at it as a hybrid, right? Maybe you're looking at having conversational texting mixing with group texting. There's just simply not a more efficient way to do that. It's a wonderful, wonderful system. You can have conversations with clients and then you can group them all in a matter of seconds. All right, let's hop back over to the slideshow. I want to show you a couple more things here. So, coming in the spring is, I apologize for going through this again, these things again. I should have just gone to the last slide we were viewing. Okay, so here. Okay, so coming in spring 2018, our fresh look, our new UI. Not changing anything about capacity, just sprucing it up, making everything more visible and easier to manage, right? And we're also going to be building more capacity. We already have staff chat capacity where you can chat with people who are texting, and you can have chats as many as you need to with your colleagues. But it's going to be easier to interpret that information, and there'll be easier, more visible tools to use in this new UI that we're doing, new release. So, wonderful, wonderful thing. We're always in development. That means that we're always building and adding to existing content. We're always refining the service, making it better. And then data. We're putting a lot of effort into better data. data visualization strategies, making all of your data more accessible and friendly so that you can, as part of the application, build graphs and have those graphs instantly available in your research or your reports, right, up the line, so that we're incorporating that third-party model, right, where you're taking Excel spreadsheets and uploading them into something else. We're going to be making our data as elegantly customizable as that type of software, so that the data is just as accessible as your clients. Okay? All right, and if you have any questions about any of the content that you heard today, please feel free to reach out to us. We're always available to talk new programs, new ideas. We're available through info@PreventionPays Text. You can also pop onto our website. You can email me directly, Jonathan, and EMS mail. Then I just want to remind you that Prevention Pays Text has been highlighted at many, many conferences. If you're an AIRS member, we've been at 2012, 2013, all the way up to current each year with multiple tracks. We're really big on expressing the value of the software through the eyes of the clients that use it. And if you have ideas about that, please reach out to us too. All right, thank you so much for your attention today. Thank you so much for your participation, and have a good rest of your day. If you have any questions, you can type them now. I'll be hanging out for a while, just answering any questions. But go ahead and if you want to send questions, just type them. All right, thank you. Have a good rest of your day.